In the previous video, we have discussed about different types of problems, correct? Now, we'll understand and we'll discuss two very important points whenever we talk about binomial distribution or a binomial theorem, actually speaking. All right. Now, the first one is the general term. We have already discussed this, but it's more like a recap for that one. Okay. The second part, what we are going to discuss is the midterm or middle terms of a binomial theorem. All right. So first, let's look into the general term. See, when you have a plus b whole power n, you know the expansion of this one. See, you have nc naught a power n plus nc1 a power n minus 1 into b, so on and so forth, plus ncn b to the power of n. Correct? Now, what you know is this is the first term, correct? First term. So when you have first term, if you look at this, this is 0. So this is the second term and the value of this is 1. That means if this value is n, then this term should be equal to n plus 1th term, correct? Like whatever that value you have for the combination, the subscript of the combination, the nth term or what the position of the term is going to be that particular number plus 1, correct? So in general, what we say is the r plus 1th term, tr plus 1 is going to be ncr a power n minus r into b to the power of r. This. See, this is the n plus 1th term, sorry, r plus 1th term, or you can say it's the general term. Clear? This is the general term of a binomial expansion or a binomial theorem. The next part what we have is the midterm. See, for the midterm, what we consider is there are two cases. What if n is an even number and what if n is an odd number? So there are two cases. Depending on the value of n being the odd or even, we can say that there is one midterm or there can be two midterms. Fair enough? We'll look into both the cases now. Now, to start with the midterm or midterms, let's start with very simple example of, let's say we are looking at a plus b whole square. Okay, n being an even number. What you have is a square plus 2ab plus b square, correct? This is the one. Now, you have a midterm. Of course, you have a midterm and you know the midterm is going to be 2ab part here. Now, with the help of Pascal's triangle, you know what we'll do? We'll calculate what if we have a plus b whole power 4. Now, if you have a plus b whole power 4, remember, if you remember the Pascal's triangle, just the coefficient, okay? We are not looking at the actual terms, even though you can, it's very easy. So, what do we have? First, you have a power 4, correct? So, you are going to have a power 4, or just the coefficient is 1. Then you have 4, then you have 6, then you have 4, you have 1. Of course, a cube b, a square b square, ab cube b to the power of 4. Anyway, that's not really important. What is important is that if you look at this one also, you have midterm. One exactly midterm, you know, the exact value. That means suppose if n is an even number, then we are going to have exactly one midterm, correct? And the position of the midterm can also be calculated very easily. That means here, if n is even, suppose if n is even, then let's try to, get a general formula out of it. See, if n value is 2, then we have 1, 2, 3. 3 terms are there. If this is 4, then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Correct? Now, if n value is 2, if n value is 2, then we got the second term, correct? When n value is 4, we got 1, 2, 3, third term, correct? Second, and this is the third term. So next is going to be the fourth term. So likewise, it's going to keep on changing. That means when n is even, then what we are going to get is we'll do n by 2 plus 1th term. N by 2 plus 1th term. This is going to give us the position of the mid term in the binomial expansion. Okay, let me repeat this again. When n is even, then the position of the mid term in the binomial expansion is given by n by 2 plus 1th term. Clear? This is when n is an even number. Suppose if n is an odd number. Okay, suppose let's say you have just a plus b or a plus b whole cube, a plus b whole power 5, something like this. Suppose if that is the case, then we'll have two midterms. Okay, that means here when n is odd, suppose if n is odd, then n plus 1 by 2, this is one midterm, and n plus 1 by 2 plus 1th term. So there are two terms. These two are the midterms. When n is even, you have one midterm. When n is odd, you will have two midterms. Clear? So this is how we are going to find the midterm. And if you go back in the same video, you will understand how do we find the general term of a binomial expansion. Clear? So based on this, we have a lot of problems. As in, you have around 3 or 4 types of problems if you generalize it. Okay, the first one is they'll ask you find the general term, which is very simple. Second is given the coefficient of some number, some variable you can say, or they'll ask you find the coefficient of that. Clear? Or they can ask you which term is independent of x. All right, or they'll also ask you find the midterm, find the midterms. So there are around 4 or 5 types of problems based on whatever topic we just did. In the next video, we'll do problems based on that so that it's easier for you guys to understand how exactly we apply these concepts over problems. So in the next video, we'll solve few problems.